Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is Grand Arena, the first match of Season 27. We're going to start off with a quick recap of the last round from Season 26. First round was a tough loss. He was able to beat me a little bit more efficiently. We both were tripped up on each other's Mon Mothma squads. Mine stopped in R3 Ami Wampa, but I needed a couple more attempts. His threw me off when mine failed. I didn't have enough counters at that point in the battle, and it took a couple shots to clear it. He was only tripped up a little bit on that battle. Most of this is pretty straightforward and clear. Maul against Bam, Troopers up against Dash, Traya, Iden, Bossk cleaning up the Mon Mothma, SLKR up against Starkiller, JML taking out Qui-Gon. He had saved his strong teams for the right point in the match. But this is what I'm really happy about. Negotiator falling to a Gear 10 TIE Interceptor. And that's going to happen twice this week. Round 2, my opponent barely attacked. Doesn't really show too much. His Relic Bad Batch, though, failed. That's the power of BB-8. But he has... I don't know how well modded they were, but to be that high Relic 5 and up, and to lose against my Grievous, that's a result I'm happy with. But you can see from some of his play calling, things are a little weird. I think there must have been a crash with this JML team. This makes no sense to me that JML is losing to Dash. And the length of the battle is 22 seconds with a timeout. That's not how timeouts read on this website. Round 3. This was when the Jawas conspired against me and my Night Sister Qui-Gon counter didn't register, which ends up being the difference. So JML against Darth Revan, Troopers against Bossk. His Bad Batch also fail up against my Grievous, so this is something I'm very happy with about that. My Grievous with BB-8 and a Gear 11 B2 stopped 2 Relic Bad Batch squads. JKR Bam, Maul, Mon Mothma, Traya Dash, Night Sisters Hux, Geos up against JTR. Some of these teams are pretty weak, and I'd love to find some replacements for. Sith Eternal Emperor up against the Starkiller. This is something I've only been doing because my Starkiller is still weak. That is not something you're going to be seeing in the future. Gas, Qui-Gon, Darth Revan, Iden. So he had a lot of stuff he kept for offense. And then, once again, Negotiator falling to the TIE Interceptor. So that's a great result. For this week, what we are looking at is I am still in Kyber 2. Let me show you the bracket that I am working with this week of Grand Arena. Let's move my head out of the way. So my opponent is on the left-hand column next to mine. He is a much smaller account at 6.2. Everyone else is, well, I guess there's another guy at 6.6, but everyone else is 7 million GP and up. Zeta's my opponent is low, but there's another, that player at 6.6 is not too far off from where he is. Omicrons, I've got the higher amounts, but my opponent does have a good amount of Omicrons. We're both 2 GL players. Everyone else is above that. Relic units, I'm again close with my opponent, which is a good sign for this matchup. Everyone else is in range with what is typically seen in Kyber 2. I have a ton of depth, though. My opponent is pretty shallow, which that's a surprise, because usually what you're saying is if you're a 2GL player, you're counteracting your lack of GL with greater depth. And that's not what he's doing here. And that's compounded when you look at his mods. I have there's 1, 2, 3, most of these guys have better top 25 mods than me, but I am better than my opponent. When it comes to the top 500 mods, I'm the best. I'm by far have the strongest mod depth. My opponent is by far the weakest. And I looked at his history. He's been in Kyber 2 this whole time, so it tells me that he is a player who knows his counters and saves a lot for offense, because he's probably playing on efficiency and hoping he can be more efficient than his opponent, because that's really the only way that I'm seeing that he's been in Kyber 2 as far as the Swugga history is indicating. I originally thought he had climbed from Kyber 3. Not the case. I completely dwarf him and a number of the opponents here in mod depth. And the rest of this, what we're looking at is he's got Sith Eternal Emperor and JMK. Most of the play. This is one thing that you see. If you're a 2GL player, you're going to have JMK or JML as one of your GLs. You're not an SLKR and Ray player and playing with shallow GL depth. That's not something I'm seeing. You have to have the more recent GLs to get away with being that shallow in GLs. In terms of Omicrons, he's got Zam, Qui-Gon, Iden, at least of what's visible here. I'd like to see this get updated. No one has Starkiller except for me. No one is finished with their Iden farms except for me. And as far as the dashes go, there's a couple other players with Omicrons. Only one other one has it at relics. Two players don't have the Qui-Gon Omicron, which is a surprise. One is understandable, but the other guy with the relic Qui-Gon, that's a little inexplicable. Three players without relic Mauls, one completely without a Maul. Which, these conquest characters, I'm paying attention to how quickly players are getting caught up on. My opponent does have good speeds on some of the characters that matter. He has a really good cat. His Sith Eternal Emperor is slower, but if you're keeping him for offense, you can get away with that. And here's some of the rest of his mod quality. Now let's hop into this. So we need to do the hotbot. So with the hotbot here, some of the same information, but lifetime banners is actually lower. Maybe it meant that his matchups were bad in the original Grand Arena, but considering his performance in Grand Arena 2.0, I would have expected this to be higher. His clears and undersizes are also a little low, particularly the undersizes, because that is something I'm expecting him to do, to stretch like his Jedi around and do a bunch of undersized battles that way. Top GL is fine. Zeta, as we already mentioned, is low. His mod average is really low, which is kind of expected, but considering his depth, it's going to be a little bit more noise than usual. My windows are thin, and I usually record in the evenings to avoid this, but now I'm recording 2 hours from the end of Grand Arena. So there's a little bit more traffic on the street. The relic distribution, he has a lot of tier 7 relics. Makes sense. But he either has tier 7 and tier 8 or low tier relics is how this is really looking. I've got mod advantages on most every character. He does have the better Rex. I need a much better Rex. I need more mods. Darth Revan, his P.'s slower. Moff Gideon is not great. That should be better. Alright, let's jump into this. I don't have a ton of time left in Grand Arena, and if I gotta deal with any troubleshooting, I don't want things to be... I want a little bit more room for error. He has not attacked yet. Little surprising. Oh, before I click on that, we gotta talk about what I set down. There's some new teams here. Some of this is from before. I'm going to use a couple of these matches to figure out what does and doesn't work. Like, this Telzane team, this used to work in 3v3 because it was challenging your opponent's depth, and if they weren't deep enough to have enough counters, they were fairly often taking unideal teams up against Night Sisters. But so much time has passed since 3v3, I would be surprised if that team still does anything. They need to get replaced is my expectation. Mon Mothma, this is the version I'm going with. You want the speed boost, and Cara Dune I'm thinking because it messes up some of the Empire counters, but it may not be the ideal one. Is what I'm testing out first. Bam, I don't know. He's kind of a decent crew counter, so I might want to keep him for that. It's not going to come up this round. This is just a great 3v3 team. Doesn't look like it. It gets tons of holds because a lot of opponents underestimate it. I really want relics on Vandor and L3. I think they'll be serviceable without it. I probably need at least a Gear 12 L3. Vandor really needs a decent tank to get the full use out of. In the lower territory, Bossk. Then Bossk is one of those teams I don't want to be using, but it's high relics now. Another Night Sister team that I think's day is over. A Nute team. Darth Revan with Malik and CLS. Those are standard, really solid 3v3 defensive teams. Back wall. We are looking at a Bastila team that really has no business there, but it's one of those teams for depth. This is the Palpatine team I'm testing out right now. Starkiller could be an option there, which would make it very dangerous, but I'm thinking I want to have ways to use Starkiller for offense. But I'll be using a series of variations of Starkiller and Palpatine throughout this period until I figure out what I want to work with. This Shaak Ti team really shouldn't be on defense, and this is how I'm handling my Qui-Gon. With the ship territory, this is unchanged, but Negotiator, the Empire, but I do have a Gear 11 TIE Interceptor now, so that ability is maxed out, and then we have the Rebels. Really tempted to spend some crystals on the Outrider. I'm not going to do it. I did the math on it. Too many crystals. I think it's going to be something like 7,000 crystals to get it up to 5 stars. What we have to deal with, and I have not planned this out. I looked at this a little earlier. It was easy. No Omicron on Krennic, but that's an Omicron that everyone should be considering for 3v3. I expect to see some really good results. Part of the reason I didn't put it on was it's going to be so well covered. What I do have, though, is the Tusken Omicron, and we'll be testing that out. So Ackbar, ROLO, Krennic, a weak Geos, Bastila. And this is a weak version of Bastila. I think the way that you have to do Bastila is kind of how I did it. You need attackers. You don't need tanks, because there's not a lot of damage output in 3v3 with a Bastila team. You want attackers to exploit the added survivability she's giving from the protection up to start the battle. And tanks don't do that. You just make it a really long, slow battle. But they're never a threat to win or get a hold. Qui-Gon crew with Wat, which is weird. Poggle, Nute, Grievous. Like you can see, it's pretty weak and straightforward. I know his Geos are going to be for offense. We'll just start clearing this. We know we're going to get a few solos out of this. Oh, we gotta get rid of that. Did I have Grievous on defense? I can't even remember anymore. I don't even know why I'm playing this. Let's just auto. This is not in any question or doubt. You just... In 5v5, I think Grievous is debatable on defense just in terms of roster depth. You might not have options. At least then Grievous can draw out the Wampa. But in 3v3, it's just, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, there's still the same argument with drawing out Wampa, but I don't know, I think I'd spread some of those other droids in other locations. Maybe make Grievous, I don't know, put him on a weird comp or something. Not that it'd be a threat to win, but I like B1 with Nute in 3v3. That's pretty annoying. I have no idea how I want to play this. Do I want to do troopers here? Can I do troopers here? Like, I know I can do troopers here. And I know I have done troopers here in 3v3. I just haven't looked at how... You know what I used to do? that was my weird Wampa counter, where I would do Wampa, B2, and Wat, which no longer makes any sense. Because there's so many new characters and changes where that's not a productive use. But that's how I used to deal with Nute. Alright, let's do Qui-Gon. I think we do gas. Do I need everybody? Yeah, we're going to trigger the AoE really early just because Cam is so weak. He's going to fall below health and Anakin's going to go straight away. I'm just wondering if I can do it with Ahsoka and not a clone, because Rex we could use elsewhere. Like Rex I like to use up against that Bastila. But I don't want to mess around with Qui-Gon. Alright. We're just going to trigger this early. Now take out Qui-Gon. Gets his bonus turn. Fine, I guess. Time to stand up, buddy. Not the cleanest, but safe. I wish I had more of a plan, especially considering the amount of time I have left. I have an hour and a half, just plenty of time, but it makes me not feel like I can ponder things as much. I really want to do troopers here. The way you do it is with Dark Trooper. But the relic levels have me a little concerned, so it would have to be something like that, I think. Get demoralized, we have the turn meter removal, his mods are bad, we have days. I'm just gonna do it. And also from the last time I did this in 3v3, we did not have a... No, maybe we did have a relic AP. No, we did, because I had Executor at that point. Let's get to work on Dooku. Don't be dodging. Perfect. We'll throw an armor shred, sure. We're gonna hold off on the turn meter just because we need Jango to take some turns. Let's go for it. Yeah, we're gonna do that. The mark was a poor decision, but we're still fine. Alright. Clean enough. So these aren't a huge problem. This crew... Do I have JTR? This is JTR-able. BB-8 really is... could go down. But I think this will be fine. Because the thing is, relic crew without being surrounded by relics is really not that good. I used to talk a lot of crap about them. Maybe Watt changed this where I'm gonna be embarrassed. Because normally I would be targeting other characters, we would have dispelled the taunt. What this is really changing is I have to go after crew early. But I don't think that's going to fundamentally alter this. That was a weak Kylo. We need to go for a stun. Okay, we don't get a stun. Pull turn meter. Don't care about any of that. Do we get stunned this time? He's got tenacity down. Nope. Alright. We can auto from here. It's why I've never liked that relic unless you have full relics. It's fine if you have SLKR. But as a relic on its own, it's pretty weak. It doesn't make the First Order much better. Alright. Poggle here. How did I deal with teams like this? This is one of those like nonsense teams where you never want to bring something too strong up against. What did I do to beat these? I should have looked at some of my old battles to see how I used to counter things. Because there's a taunt, there's a damage immunity. It would be nice if I had Shock T, and Shock T really shouldn't be on defense. Maybe we do something with bounty. What kind of bounty hunters do we have? Well, I want to be doing some testing on Fennec. I was going to take her to relics, but I decided I wanted to do at least one 3v3 battle with a Gear 12. See how it goes. Maybe we'll do it in the top territory. I assuming she just needs to be at relics, but I still want to like take her for a spin. That's not how I want to do this. How do I want to do this? I almost want to attempt like a Starkiller solo. Maybe Empire's not a bad choice. Like Fracture with Thrawn. Oh, we should do some Inquisitor testing. There's a lot of things we can try out. Oh, Iden should be on defense. I didn't even think about her. This is why I needed to make a plan beforehand. I might just take something strong. Maybe do Han and Chewie. I feel like we have enough other high-end counters. It's just a lot for these guys. Do I think Nest can do this? I guess bad timing from Droideka could take out Nest. I think Jedi Knight Revan's going to be more valuable than Han and Chewie. Starkiller. I kind of want to bring him up against something more worthy. Traya is a pretty cheap option, but I want to keep her for the back wall. Wait a second. Wait a second. I think we got a solution. What if we do Bad Batch? So we would need Hunter. What if we did tech and echo? We're going to be faster as long as we get them stunned and out of control. Under control, I don't think we're going to need to worry about echo and wrecker. It could go poorly, but I think we're fine. Let's do that. This is how I get in trouble, where I want to be cheap instead of safe. But I think we're going to be fine. It would have been... I need to get my tech faster. Because missing out on being able to stun Droideka is a problem. We'll swap. That's a problem. The thing is, with a faster tech, this is a win. I'm going to hold on to that ability. Now we use it. Now we do our stun, which we don't even get. We will probably lose tech. We're gonna lose Hunter now. Yeah. What that is a message to get my tech way faster. I think I just want something with a dispel. Can I do something like... Okay, CAD has a dispel. Definitely not that one. That's not a good one for this. Probably ASing Mando Grief. This might go poorly. This is a bad idea. But we like bad ideas here. We're going to keep the dispel. So let's do this. Do that. Do this. Alright, this is what we kept the dispel for. And there we go. My opponent has still not started attacking. He might not attack, which just... Maybe just didn't care about 3v3. There's a lot of players I know who are going to have low engagement this round. But from his performance so far, I was expecting him to play. Alright, Maul, Iden, Mon Mothma. This is such a soft defense. Alright, there's a number of things we want to test. And let me write them down so I don't forget to test them because it's a lot. We want to be testing Fennec, Tuskens, Starkiller, maybe a sign of Django. Han, Chewie. Yeah, because Maul's not going to be the same. What do we want? ROLO? Wedge? Let's do that. Yeah, I think I want that offense. Let's do this. Just blast Zam. I want my Chewie faster. Hoping for a stun there. Alright, this will be easier now. I'm glad we kept Han and Chewie. Like, doing the Bad Batch and stuff was annoying, but considering the Zam Ami, I wasn't really thinking that through. Like, we can't do Maul, and maybe Maul would still work, but it would be harder since we don't have Wat to trigger the frenzy. It might not go the same way. I guess we'll probably want to use Maul too for some more 3v3 showcasing. Iden here. I think we'll do Traya up against Mon Mothma. They're gonna be fast, if at least if his is modded right. But they're low enough gear where I don't think I'm very concerned. I think I'm gonna save the AoE. Sure, let's isolate Kara. We'll save that. We need more debuffs. He's got his force influence. Now we use it with an extra body on the field. Come on, bro. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Guys. Not cool. Definitely annihilating Kyle Katarn. He's weaker, but more of the problem. I need to increase gear on this squad. I love this squad. I love Sith, but I have such weak Sith. 'Cause there's so many other things to work on. In terms of Melgas, I'm making some really good timing and pace. Next month, I'll be doing far fewer refreshes. I want a little refresh crazy. I almost want to do Tuskens up against Iden Verso. That's kind of what I'm thinking. There's not a lot of attack. It does have stacking damage, though. I'm not going to have stacking damage. I think it's more likely a timeout. Which would be a foolish thing to do. Let's see. Maybe we bam. Maybe we do Maul here. Let's give Maul a challenge. This is probably one of the strongest teams left. It's not really much of a challenge, but it's at least a challenge. Love Maul. Alright, so that's one thing we wanted to try out that was fun but anticlimactic. What do we want to use Tuskens on? Let's take a look at that top territory. Maybe we'll do Starkiller up against the Maul? Maybe we even try solo with Starkiller. Oh, we got a Nest solo we can do with probably this ROLO team. Krennic needs to be something. You know what we're gonna do? We are going to do Tuskens up against Krennic. With the Omicron, I would not be doing this. Without the Omicron, he's not going to be able to do what he needs to do. No, stay out of here. Because with the Omicron, he can ignore taunt, target who he wants, throw down Deathmark. Deathmark, I think, is going to be stopping the revive mechanic on Tusken Raider. So I think Krennic will, with Krennic plus Ami counters Tuskens. Without Ami, I think I've got the advantage. I don't need to do that yet, so we're not. That was good and fun. Oh, I forgot about the revive. There's a turn meter. The foresight's annoying, so I'm going to... They're doing way more damage than I thought they were. which is a good sign. That was one of my concerns about this squad, was there was a lot of extra crit chance in damage, but not as much offense stat sharing that I was concerned that without the right enough crit levels, and it wasn't going to do what it needed to do. But at least it's 2 relics and did not have any issues. Next time, a stronger challenge. One of the friends of the channel and on the Discord, Aquaman, he also has a Gear 11 Tusken squad that he set on defense. His opponent took Geos up against it and they had some problems, which is a great result. So what I'm hoping for is we get future Tuskens in the future, and that turns into a 5v5 Omicron with a future touch-up. I just don't think they want us to use it in 5v5 right now. Like, you could... I don't... They want to find less game-breaking things, and limiting it right now protects them against a little bit of that. Alright, so that was a fun use of Tuskens, at least up against a relic. And I didn't think they were going to have any issue with, like, ROLO, for instance. Which is why I didn't do that there. Way more damage than I was expecting. They're probably really nice at relics. If you have Lord Vader, I would seriously consider that Omicron. Because I don't think you need to worry about the other characters having high health and high damage. It's really Tusken Raider. Just that one relic, I think, changed it. What am I doing this? I will be increasing relics. Now that I'm done with a lot of these projects, I want to be adding relics and relic levels to a lot of characters that I've been wanting to for a long time. Like, I've got a relic 4 Nest. She's always deserved to be higher. There we go. And with that First Order TIE Pilot Omicron, it might stop lower relic nest counters. So in order to make sure I can still counter like a Phasma in Grand Arena with a nest solo, I think I need to increase relic levels. Alright, I want to do Fennec, Starkiller, and Scion of Django. I almost want to do Fennec up against Bastila, but it's the stun from Ayla that's going to mess that up. I might do it anyway. Let me take a look at it. Do I get tenacity? It's the stun that's going to mess it up. I'm just going to get stun locked. We're not going to do it. I think she'd win, though, without Ayla. I might do it up against this Ackbar. I think what we're really going to learn is how mandatory the relics are on Fennec. That's the lesson we're about to learn. Same thing with Iden. Iden's just going to stun us and we'll be taken out once the damage stacks high enough. Although, you know, let's do this. Maybe Fennec can handle Maul. This is a good opponent to do testing on, where the losses aren't going to be a difference maker. He doesn't look like he's going to be attacking me. I don't think he's going to play me too cleanly. Alright, so let's do this. And yeah, let's get rid of, try and work on Sidious. To all but the weakest enemy. And deal special damage to the enemy that was weakest at the start of the attack. Deals inflicted with armor shred. Overconfident. Alright. You can see how this would be working with relics. I'm just not doing enough damage right now. And the overpower. Yeah, that'd be fun. Do I just clean up the rest of this board? No, we got more testing to do. Alright, Sign of Django, what do you offer me? Crit avoidance. We need debuffs. What kind of scoundrels do I have? I don't know. None of that interests me. Let's do... Starkiller solo? Let's see if this works. There are mechanics within the kit where solos are probably not in my interest. Having him have allies means a bunch of added stats that he's not going to have right now. I just don't know if that matters. Especially against these characters. A little worried. Yeah, not great. We probably could play that a little cleaner without the preloaded turn meter. That's probably a little safer. But I think those shared stats are more desirable. It worked, but probably not going to do it again. How do I want to do this? Let's just get this done. Let's get to ships. This has gone on long enough. Oh, Inquisitors. I forgot to write them down. We're gonna do... Not here. Inquisitors are definitely gonna lose. I think we'll just clear this one up quick. Maybe not. Maybe, is this where I want to do Inquisitors? Are there any Jedi left? We had Rebels and Geos left. Let's just do Inquisitors. This is still our best option. No, we'll do Inquisitors up against Ackbar. That's gonna fall apart. No. Do I think Luke can solo this? I think Luke can solo this. I'm sure there's something I'm not considering. But Luke's a good solo character. He's probably going to be one-shotting these, a couple of these guys. Gas would solo this, no problem. Perfect. It was a really weak Iden team, but still. Okay, Inquisitors... Oh, we have a Jedi team in Bastila. We're totally doing this. Do one of these work better up against Bastila? Not Jedi. I'm not going to read through all these to figure out which one has, if any of them has a Bastila counter. We're going to do Fifth Brother. Definitely 8th. We probably should do 2nd, but she's the one who has the least amount of synergy. Seventh is the healer. This is what we're gonna do. I think we are too low on stars and gear. This is not a team like the Bad Batch. Yeah. I mean, 3 stars gear 9 is not acceptable for her. Let's maybe not attack Ayla. I need to be way faster. I'm kind of surprised how fast this team is. This Bastila team, because it's this guy doesn't have great mods. Alright, that was a fun, useless experiment. JML solo? I think this should work. JML fails up against teams with a ton of assists, like Troopers or Mon Mothma, Geos even. They can handle a solo JML. This, I think, will be fine. And Ayla can't stun. Ayla's really the only one who can truly mess with me. Once we deal with Ayla, the rest of this isn't going to be too much of a concern. We don't have to worry about taunts. So we can just target whoever we want. Yeah, this is very safe. Those what? Wampa, Nest, JKL, and JML solo. So 4 solo. Oh, and Starkiller Cleanup, technically. But like maybe 4.5. Oh wait, I can't do what I was, at least Thrawn can't be there. I can do that. Let's do that. Probably don't need Sith Trooper, but the extra assist would be nice. Probably would have been fine as a solo. Well, actually, Talon was giving us a lot of nice stuff, but it was low gear. Is there something dumb we can do here? Anything fun left? Not really. Just get this done. Get rid of the revive. Otherwise, Han's going to bring back anyone we take out. Alright, that was useless. Well, he's got 40 minutes left, hasn't done a battle. This is pretty surprising. I really don't understand how this guy's in Kyber 2. Oh. This is why I need presets. That could have been a disaster. That could have been a disaster. I need the Ebon Hawk. Okay, targeted the right ship. Should have checked how fast his Razor Crest is. I think he may have been a Relic 4 BAM, so he might... I might go second. Or I might go first, which is not what I want. Go. We're gonna target Cad because I think he's gonna. I think my Razor Crest is going first. Yeah. Okay. And this is why you have the Ebon Hawk. Whatever. Alright, we can get rid of the taunt. There's the payout. Yeah, this is over. We'll auto from here. He had a Tarkin on defense as well. So he's shallow in fleets. So we'll be able to take Malevolence up against whatever second, Rebels or Empire. I forget already what it was. Rebels. This is straightforward. We do have more stars on the TIE Echelon and MG100. We might use one of those to finish off the last fleet. A little ill-advised. No, we have to do it anyway. Yeah, that's what we were going to have to do anyway because of the options we have left. And then after this, I'm going to do the Marquee event and see what 50R-T is like. I think she'll be semi-usable at low stars. There's enough added health and defense and protection and recovery where I think but there's a usable team there. You had Wedge on the starting line. I just assumed that was Biggs. You should not do that. All right, that wraps that up. Does it just not have finalized? Alright. So we finally have a 5-star TIE echelon, which will hopefully mean some very different results. Now this is a weak team we're going up against. We know he does not have a lot of relics on his first order, and it's the wrong capital ship. Even if you're not in Kyber, you need to be going after Radis and Finalizer. I'm already doing it on the alt. The alt has just hit 3 million GP. I'll have a new account video out soonish where I'll show that progress. But that's what my active farms are. It's all ships. Next time I'm almost done with all the ships. I do want the Kylo relic though for the ship, for the fleet. It is one I have to do. But I should have clarified earlier and said what I was saying about that crew relic applied to just the character, not the ship. Why? I'm sure I misplayed that when I was not paying too much attention, but kind of surprised that it went the way that it did. Did that? How is this going the way it is? This is not what I was expecting or wanting. I think we still win, it's just it's been a mess. I've got days, I'm just gonna go for the protection up. No, we don't get a target lock. Dispel, get rid of the retribution. I need a target lock, perfect, stun, or take it out, fine. Sloppy, this is why I need increased gear here, why a lot of players want to. I'm going to try and be cheap about it, just key characters. Hopefully not have to do the TIE Fighter pilots. Crew relic though I gotta do. And First Order officer. Alright, that's a win, a sloppy win, but we were doing a lot of testing, and I think we found some interesting results. And my opponent will likely not be attacking me, but we will wrap it up there. Really impressed with the Tusken Omicron, very happy with that result. Starkiller was fun to do, but I probably won't be doing it again. He seems to need a squad around him. If Darth Sidious is able to do that kind of damage, Darth Maul is able to do that kind of damage, I'm going to want that stat boost from having a team surrounding him. Fennec clearly needs to have the relics. That I knew, but I wanted some more testing. And Inquisitors, we might have to be limiting ourselves, at least for the rest of the week, to characters that have more stars. So Second Sister and will probably need to be on any testing that we do, just because she's done being farmed and she's at gear 11. Those I think will be good results. And my opponent apparently just did an attack, so he is going to get some rewards. He took out the Darth Revan. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Moon Knight was, I don't think I said anything about my feelings about it, but episode 5 was amazing, and the show overall was meh. Fun ride, but it's the type of thing where once you get off the ride, like, it wasn't really any good. It's something where you don't want to think too much about, where it starts showing that it has a lot of flaws. But thank you for watching. Be safe out there, everyone. And as always, be excellent to each other. This is still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.